You know, that time you wish you hadn't wore full armour and ridden 2 miles out of range, and you wish you put a trolley handle on. You know that time. Yeah.
Wearing one of the original tops from the 9x1 when it first came out, and this is where Speedy Feet's history lies, within the 9x1. This machine here is what really started it all for Speedy Feet. Gave us confidence in a product that was well built, was well funded, and the people doing it had a passion for that product. Boom. We are on. How you doing? Good. I did get a countdown, but I didn't believe him because in front of me it's not started yet. So how are you all? You know the score. What you need to do is you need to say what wheel you got and which country you're from. That's how we always start. So newcomers to the show can see the wheels on offer and what people are buying, and what countries are on. And you may be able to connect with other people around you. So it's always the same. Country and wheel. Get on it. The hat is upside down. It is. Well spotted. The hat's upside down for a very good reason, because it won't fit on top of there. Let me demonstrate. It's always about the hats. You see? You see the problem? See what it made me do now? They won't stay up there. So it's not what? It's not gonna. Yeah. I'll leave that there. There we go. Way of the Gotway MSX, New Zealand. Sweet. London, KS16C, Z10, Norway, and M103, which is a Gotway M10. Kingsong 18L UK, Kingsong 18L US, Gotway Tesla, Sweden, which is pretty sweet. Let's just refresh it. I'm trying to get, if you're on Facebook watching, always remember that a bit slow to get the comments on Facebook, if there is any. But it's streaming to Facebook this week. Last week it was not. So what have we got? MSX California, Sweden here, Monster 100 volt from Speedy Feet, sweet. Glide 3 in Washington State, Z10 Auckland, New Zealand, and it's early. Tesla, Sweden, Belgium, KS18L, hotel in Cardiff, Matt, you are not far away from us then. You're about an hour away. In Motion V5F, no country mentioned. USA PA KS18L, MSX 100 volt, Z10 Essex. M10 3s from Speedy Feet. Good choice, Ronnie. Good choice. That's the way to do it. This week, if you've all finished listing your wheels and where you're from, I think you might have done, possibly. This week, we've got a bit of a special. It is on safe riding. So we're going to touch on that a little bit. M Super V3 and V8 Monster under repair. So we're going to be doing that. Actually we're going to be playing something for around about, I think, is it 22 minutes or was it 30 minutes? 22 minutes. 22 minutes of someone else's documentary. Because there's been a lot of people having some really high speed crashes. And someone's got to say something about riding at crazy speeds. Yeah, it's a bit scary. So loads of them recently, of late, over the last month or two, people have been going 30 mile an hour plus, 35, 40 miles an hour, and then having massive bails. And thankfully not hurting pedestrians or other road users and things like that. But it needs really, yeah, it needs nipping in the bud, this high speed racing around in big groups. Which may feel fun, until something goes seriously wrong and it all goes a bit south then, and that's for the greater good really. We need to try and control that if we can and frown upon it, just for the fact that we'd like to carry on riding these in all these countries that you guys, some of you have they're already fully legal, you got the thumbs up, keep it legal, don't get them banned, and in places where they're trying to emerge and get this technology in to be used, we don't want videos like that going around where people are going flat out in pedestrian areas and on the road and weaving between cars and then having a cutout and sprawling across the road because they're going ridiculously quick. So, yeah, need to really try and dial that down. And anyone that's had a serious crash, because it's easy to do because you can go flat out because it's great fun. Anyone's had that crash, tell your story to everyone else, say don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So we're going to play a video that I watched quite a while ago. Some of you may have already seen it. We'll play that as essentially a closing thing. It's 22 minutes long. We'll basically close out with it, that video, and those of you that have already seen it, they can choose to just log out, or if you want to watch it, watch it. We credit the documentary maker in it, it's across the top of the screen, and their channel, so you can go and look it up and reshare it afterwards if you want. It isn't something we've done at all. It's done by someone completely different, but it really hammers home the point about, one, wearing full head armor and stuff like that, and then not going fast. And we put out leaflets, which you can see up here, which actually say don't go a speed faster than you can run out of if you don't want to have an injury. So for new people into the marketplace who are riding these wheels, haven't been riding for 4 or 5 years, some of you haven't understood that actually these things are just a single wheel and they can cut out. It's ridiculously rare, and it does tend to only happen when you're pushing the unit. That's not in all cases, but it's very rare for a machine just to fail when you're going 10 miles an hour. I mean, in the early days, I talked to Mario about it earlier, when the first wheels came out, they were 500 watt, well, less than that, some were 350 watt motors, but 500 watt motors, 9 watt one for instance, most popular at the time, rode it for 2 years, never blew a board. Loads of people did though. It's a 500 watt motor, and pushing that thing to the limit was around about 13, 14 miles an hour. So you get up to top speed, and if you rode it around like that, you were right on the edge of what it's capable of, and sometimes you'd have a board cut out. And sometimes you would break your wrist or your shoulder and roll out or whatever, you'd be alright. The same applies today, except for we get hardly any board failures at all. We used to get them all the time, and it was almost all because people were pushing their units, not allowing like a 20 or 30% buffer there to be able to just let the machine relax and not overheat, not get up to its upper power output limit, all those sorts of things. So they're failing all the time. Whereas now they're so fast that hardly anyone's taking them up to those speeds, to where you're almost maxing out at sort of 90% of what the wheel can actually do. And consequence of that, it's hardly any board failures at all. But when they do happen, of course, they are mega events now because people are coming off at stupid speeds. So, yes, so we're going to play a video to do that. Hopefully, that will hammer home some of those points. It would be great if everyone was riding sensibly, but they're not, sadly. And it's going to cause some major problems. You can't go 30 miles an hour and have a massive accident and get away with it. And what's really worrying me is not necessarily the rider, because it's your own choice. You want to ride without any protection, you want to, whatever, that's fine. but it's going to be the injury to someone else, which is going to happen at some point. Some innocent child or innocent person walking along a sidewalk, and bang, wheel comes into them at 25 miles an hour. And it swipes their legs out. So, there we go. We'll play that later. But there we go. Let's have a quick look. I'll just scroll back up and look at the comments. Let's have a look. Yeah, can't believe the noise in that chat again. You haven't missed the live chat. Number 1 stunner, 187. You have not missed it. You are in it. You are live. You're in the fray. Jumped the wheel to avoid a wheel. Jumped off the wheel to avoid a car running a red light 2 weeks ago and fractured my collarbone. Ow. Yes, that's going to hurt, isn't it? Let's have a look. Go through. Hello from Germany. Hello, Germany. There we go. Cool. Right, so we have got viewers' videos. I think we should go straight into viewers' videos. It's a bit different, isn't it? So, viewers' videos. Play them bad boys right now. Viewers' videos.
Bluetooth is connected.
There you go. So that's the 2 viewers videos that we've had submitted this week, and we have now got a total of 8 videos. So we have only got 2 more to be submitted, 2 more unique videos. The most you can send in is 2 in one competition, and then we'll have 10, and then we'll be able to vote on the top 3 of those videos. So if you're new to this show, it's the first time you've been here, submit your video. Send a URL in, as you just seen on the screen, and then we can get it added on, play it next week. Hopefully we'll get 2 and be able to play all 10 in next week's show. So send them in. Let's have another look. Beat me to it. I have an XLR8 on my phone for when I'm riding on my V3 Pro, matches the noises to my GPS. There we go. Someone said, imprisonable offence impersonating the police. I'm not sure about using a siren though. I think you actually have to be wearing a police uniform and have a badge on it. Possibly. Did I rent the road? Sorry, I don't understand. Nice sounds on that King song. How did you attach the mudguard? People asking questions from Michael King. That's a stock mudguard. How to annoy people? Bluetooth speaker. There you go. There we are. But of course, if there's not many people around, there you go. So it's about your environment, isn't it? About where you are. It's about when you're riding fast. You see, if you're in the middle of a forest and there's no one around, and you want to die a painful death out in the forest after coming off at 40 miles an hour, then you can do that, can't you? You're free to do it. But if there's other people around, you've always got to consider. So if you're blaring out speakers in a crowded area, just go on the fact that you can pretty much, if you took a poll, everyone would hate your music. They would go, no, I hate that, it's terrible. If you ask them to sign a piece of paper, do you like the music I'm currently playing? So just remember that probably not actually that cool as you think you are in your mind. So bear that in mind. And the other thing is, with safety, don't put headphones in. So there we are. But if you're out and about, it is based on your environment. So it's fine if you're going fast. There's not loads of people walking around. Let's have another look. So we've got strong double stick tape to attach a mud guard. Ice cream truck. That's a good idea, isn't it? So I do that, go up the street playing ice cream truck music. Watch all the kids come out. Yeah! Wow. Hi there, I've watched many EUC reviews and comparisons, but none of them, nobody ever said something was wrong about the wheel or so, and if it was comparison, nobody ever made. A bad statement for one or another wheel, isn't this strange? It's like people making reviews got donated by producers. Never want to say anything really in opinion. What do you think about that? Well, I think about it, that's exactly why we've done these 1,000-kilometre video reviews. So if you watch them, you will see we do the unboxing, we do the actual test, and then we do 250 kilometres, 650 kilometres, and 1,000. And if that blows up within those thousands, then the video will be, we got to X amount, and the board blew. And so everything's reported back. And so far, we've only managed to complete one of those, because 1,000 kilometres is a long way. And Mario's done his KS16S video, and he has got some negative comments in there, but not many. And he really likes the wheel. So he's done that one, and it's done 1,000 kilometres. So if there's nothing bad to say, you can't say it. But if there is, then it's mentioned. On my M Super X, I mentioned the fact that the light stays on. So on a 250 kilometre review, I said that absolutely brilliant, no faults with it whatsoever, really, really love the wheel, it's my go-to wheel. But there's a bit of a freaky thing with the light staying on half brightness when you switch it on. Not when you switch it off, when you switch it off is off. And Gotway backed us up with a warranty replacement board, but we never fitted it because can't be bothered. Because it's just a light that's half on, which doesn't bother me in the daytime. So we will always say if there's something bad about a wheel. There's certain wheels we don't stock, the IPS range, we don't stock any of those because of the backup and bad warranty repair service we had from them. So we ditched them. Yes, so in those we're trying to get that across. So it's real life stuff. So using a wheel up to 1,000 kilometres, and to be honest, if it's made at 1,000 kilometres, it's probably going to be fine for the rest of its life anyway. So that's why we've got, flipping out, we've got 15 grand's worth? More? Something like that, 15 grand's worth of wheels all sat there being used to try and take them up to 1,000 just so we can produce you a video telling you how we got on up to 1,000 kilometres. So hopefully that answers your question about that, about unfair reviews. Yeah, if you see positive things all the time, but then it's also context. So every manufacturer has had issues with wheels in some description. Whether you come across that defect in the exact wheel we're testing, for example, because when you're testing one, you could argue, say, you should test 5 and see how reliable they all compare over 1,000. We're not doing that, so you can forget that idea. But yeah. And notice you're taking pre-orders for the Kingsong KS16 now. Will be getting the 16X, don't need the extra distance. They're not making that currently, so they've only got the XL with the bigger battery. They're not making the smaller battery at the moment, is what they reported back to me. We did ask for a split order, but they said we're not making it, so okay. Let's have another look. Frank said, I want to buy one wheel. My weight is a little bit higher. What do you think about the Designbot Z10? Well, I answer that every single week about Z10. Not particularly a fan of the Z10 at all. I kind of dread going out on it. Some people absolutely love it, but there's a lot easier wheels to ride out there than the Z10, and that will kick its ass in many aspects. The M Super X being that wheel, so I love going out on that. It's got so much going for it. But Z10's alright. It looks brilliant. That's the main thing going for it. You look like Batman, so... hi on your website. Yeah, I've seen that already. Don't need extra distance. So we're only doing the 16XL. Hi, and your hair is now long enough to tie it back into a ponytail. Use the hair straighteners though, as it makes a difference. Trust me, I use it more than the wife. My hair will refuse to be straightened. I can tell you that for nothing. The only thing, maybe some engine oil covered over it, might straighten my hair. Why not the Tesla? Not sure what that question means. Just installed the new Kingsong app and I'm now getting limited to 40 km. I can't work out how to put it back to full speed. hopefully, Gary, someone will be able to answer that question because I haven't had that issue. Anyone else out there had the new Kingsong app and got it limited to 40 kilometers an hour? If so, tell Gary how to sort it out. When riding, treat the wheels of vehicles, stop, yield, slow at all intersections, anywhere people, cars can come out. Be extra cautious and go slow to check before proceeding. Correct. Bit hard to avoid red light runners. It is. But it's a bit similar to riding a motorcycle in that respect. You're always on the lookout for someone to jump the lights and pull out of junctions when they're not supposed to and things like that. Oh wow, I've got missing this. So car. KS69, Gary, on the new app you once have to do firmware update before you can set the speed. So there we go. Hopefully that's answered that question live on the air. I love my ZSM, it's a great wheel, but I agree there are more manageable wheels that are easier to turn, but still absolutely awesome wheel. Why no 250 kilometer review on the Tesla? Because that wasn't around then. So that's pre-Tesla. So we only ever did for 3.5, 4 years unboxings and range test, and then we sold the wheels on, and that was it. And decided to make the financial decision to actually keep these wheels, hold them back, which cost us quite a lot of money, and then take them up to 1,000 kilometers. But that was pre-Tesla, so it was shortly after Tesla when we started that scheme up. So that should answer that question. Shall we do, can you as a distributor influence the producer by telling them what's wrong with the wheel? For instance, the never-ending troubles with Z10, battery after arrival, etc. Not really, no. 9-bot stroke Segway won't listen to anything we say or anyone says, it would seem, to be fair. They pretend they do, but they don't actually do that. So there we go. So the batteries after arrival. But to be fair, what you're talking about, the never-ending troubles with Z10, batteries after arrival, etc., that would indicate old stock. So the batteries are dead because they've been allowed to run down, they haven't been charged. So that means they must have been around for quite a while, a couple of months at least, for them to actually run down to nothing. But Segway have fixed that battery drain considerably with the latest update. So you need to do the firmware update. Oh look, I've achieved an activity goal. And I've just been sat here. Burned off loads of calories. That's brilliant. I love exercise. It's just great. Let me mute that. So they fixed it. So actually go and have a look at the firmware and see if you can do an update. If you have, then that drain on the batteries has been reduced now. So if batteries are arriving dead on arrival still, it means they haven't done the latest update, I would guess. So yeah. Hey, what would you say your preferred wheel is as of recently? That's a Mountain Barn. I definitely am Super X without doubt. And the Kingsong KS18XL. I quite like that. And let's see. Can someone make an attachment to fit my Mini Pro to the lawnmower? I don't use it now. I got my Z10. You probably could do that, to be fair. Ian, you got pink shoes on the backboard? I have. Yeah. Let's bring these back out because people love these. They love them. You see? The Spring Blade. Spring Blade. Strange. We were talking about them 1 week. Whether they'd be any good, whether they'd take out, add like a suspension unit, act like a suspension unit. So Siri's telling me to get moving. Just get on your wheel and then you're moving, and it gives you loads of bonus points. Battery still goes down with the firmware, 1.17 maybe. It only goes to sleep earlier. There we go. Right, so shall we do? All we got left next is the. Someone saying, Douglas is saying, I fear this year, it's on Facebook, will be the first serious casualty with an EUC. Hopefully not. Really, really hope not. But people go in stupidly fast, major problem. But hopefully we can influence some of you people out there by playing a documentary you may never have seen before. Some of you will have done, because it will be the last thing we show in this show. You can choose to stay with the documentary and watch it, or you can just leave, which is absolutely fine. Right. Is the new Kingsong out in English yet? Think so. Think I've got it in English. Probably on my S6, I think. Someone else answer that question. Is the new Kingsong app out in English? I think it is. So did the pink trainer add suspension to your ride or not? I don't know, because they're women's trainers and I can't fit into them. Kingsong app still has issues, but Tina and Flora have been getting updaters about it regularly as I chat to them, and they are working on it. Today or tomorrow should pop up in App Store. Have I tried the Rockwheel GT16? No, I have not. I haven't tried any Rockwheel stuff. at all. It's a badass wheel apparently. But we tend to get them in and ride them for a long time and then start selling them, so it makes the decision. It's like King Song took ages to get in because we were getting accustomed with every single other manufacturer first. Okay, so let's have a little look. Yep, so are we going to do news? Let's do news.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Me and that playboy in trouble again. Extra, 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 read all about it.
She should have been. I wasn't watching.
Zero. Zero means we're on. We're live. Zero. It was all quiet. It's waiting for the countdown. And it went 0. What? Is that? We're on. Right. Okay. Welcome to this week's news. News you will have never heard before. Articles you will never have come across. Mario goes to the ends of the earth to actually find this fresh content, drag it up at places you'd never even go. So don't tell me you've heard this information before, or last year, or the year before. Super Sport, 1966. Travelling back some time there, we said it was modern news. Oh no, that's his username. 3D printed pedal pusher, which I'm assuming is on the screen, can't see because I got a 15-second lag compared to you guys. YouTube channel that focuses on tech, gadget and 3D printing. Steven Seslar is a 3D printing guru. Doesn't say that, it says enthusiast, but I'm going to say guru. Based in a US of A. He has created a little pedal pusher. You can glue or use double-sided tape to attach it to your foot plate. You can open the foot plates with your feet, just a quick flick. No need to bend down ever again. He has uploaded the 3D print on Thingiverse, so go and download it if you want. Don't know if you can throw him some cash his way for designing it. Who knows? Maybe you can. Sometimes there's a link there. So anyone with a 3D printer can make themselves a pair and attach them to their unicycle. Don't know what you guys think of that, but comment on it if you think it's a good idea. Next article. It's Future of Mobility, Urban Transport. The Future of Mobility Urban Strategy was published on the 19th of March by the Department of Transport. Now this is UK, basically, UK relevant. This document, 78 pages, outlines the government's approach to maximising the benefits from transport innovation in cities and towns. So you may have seen this on BBC News, I think it was in some other papers. The Sun, I think it was in. It sets out the principles that will guide government's response to emerging transport technologies and business models. There will be 4 zones set up to trial a range of electric transport, and the outcomes, findings, will be used as a template for other areas. The regulations are being drafted in a way that will encompass all types of personal electric transport, and the law will not have to change to accommodate different types. So that's some exciting news if they include electric unicycles, of course. But it is looking up. It's an actual, they did a survey sometime last year that we filled in as well. Loads of people submitted it. And from that, it actually looks like they've listened. And they're trying to introduce a thing that will actually allow us to ride these things around with the green light, big thumbs up, and not uncertainly wavering above you all the time. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully that will come to fruition. And we'll have the green light and we just ride around without any fear of any charges. As long as we ride sensibly. If some prat goes out and goes flat out in the next 6 months to a year and causes that to change, that would be a massive shame. Electric scooters, next article. Electric scooters and powered bicycles could soon be allowed on roads in major overhaul of transport laws. And it's by an article by James Salmon in the Daily Mail. And one thing I noticed about this article is that it had loads and loads and loads of negative responses. But this is essentially all around the scooters, more or less, pretty much. So they're on about the fact that you can travel a lot quicker on electric scooters and you can bomb about without the need of buses and things like that. And it should be a lot more eco-friendly, etc., etc. And it says, he said the shake-up would have the most profound implications since the advent of affordable motoring in the 1950s. And this is based in the UK again. Scooters with electric motors can exceed 30 miles per hour and are used for short journeys in a number of European nations and the US. But they are banned from public roads and pavements in the UK. Cleveland police revealed in October that a boy of 15 had 6 penalty points imposed on his future driving licence after being prosecuted for riding one at high speed in a public place. How crazy is that? He's 15 years old. He can't even have a provisional licence at 15. You have to be 16 to get a provisional licence. And you can't drive until you're 17. So, but nonetheless, he got points on his licence. The DFT said it has no immediate plans to legalise electric scooters and advise retailers to be clear to customers what they wear and they can use them. And we don't sell hardly any scooters. We do put scooters on our site, but there we go. So ministers are launching a competition for up to 4 new future mobility zones, which will receive a share of £90 million to test the ideas and to improve journeys. This is expected to include smoother pavement systems, more accurate service updates, and the use of innovative forms of transport with the aim of making travel in built-up areas more convenient, reliable, and cheaper. As all of us who ride know that is the case. It's just getting that across to people that don't ride in ministerial positions. Okay, next up, let's have another look. Here we go, link. Someone's in there. I tried to look at chat onto the news, but European trip is the next one. Les Wheelers de Alscase and Belgian Wheelers are organising an European trip. A European trip. The A, not an. The former, it's in English though, which is good. The former are heading off from Strasbourg, the latter from Brussels, and both groups are meeting in Luxembourg. They will have to use vehicles to move because the towns are too far apart to unicycle, but there'll be nothing's too far. Me and John rode 1,000 miles. Nothing's too far, is it? Is it, Mary? Is it, people out there? Nothing's too far. Not when you got electric unicycle. Nothing's too far. Nothing's too difficult. Ain't no mountain high. No, I'm not saying that. They will have to use vehicles to move because the towns are far apart, but they'll be riding together in different places they stay over. The trip is between the 19th of April to the 22nd of April. Is there a contact details? What are they inviting people out, or is it just them? It's not sure. Is it an open invitation, or are we promoting something that they don't want anyone else to join in?
Open Facebook event.
It's an open Facebook event. So go and look. Is it down there as... What's the name of the group? Is it called Belgian Wheelers? We've had them on before, Belgian Wheelers. We keep mentioning them. And we don't know anything about them.
Yes, and also the other.
Yes and no. Yes, yes and yes. Yes and also. Yes and also. Yes and also, Les Wheelers thingamabob. So go and look at Belgian Wheelers. You'll see it. You'll see it. It'll be there. If you want to get involved with that, go there, crowd out the event, make it completely unviable, and then job done. They've ruined it for everyone. We have. So apologies if we do that. Next article is riding safe. Now, we're going to leave this one, I think, until possibly where we are. We're 34 minutes in, so actually, we are going to have to end the show with this documentary in a few minutes. So we'll leave it to last, but it's wheels used to cut off, I think, let me just translate this, hold on. Yes. So at the start of this show, I talked about the fact that we're going to play a documentary about riding fast and the injuries that could be sustained and the changes to people's lives it can actually do. It's quite a serious topic, not usually serious, but because these are getting more prominent, people are going faster on them and going to cause some serious screw-ups that might actually stop them being fully legalised and fully accepted and integrated. And the main crux of the whole thing is that people ride way too fast. Now, it might actually say that your wheel can do 50 gazillion miles an hour, but you should never do that. I always say if you lay it sort of 25-30% between its maximum, what it should be able to do and what you're actually doing, then you've got a nice load there where it shouldn't be stressing the wheel out. So ride it in such a way it isn't going to stress out. Otherwise, all the accidents tend to happen at that top end. It's never you just ride along at 10 miles an hour and bang, it comes off. Because if it did, you wouldn't actually get injured. So it's only when you take it to the maximum speed. So I always ride a wheel. If I'm riding above a speed I can run at, because I do, I'm usually wearing kit in that instance. If I'm riding slower, I don't tend to wear any kit at all. If I'm riding fast, I tend to wear kit. But I'm riding it in the knowledge that if this now cuts out, I am a prat. And I demonstrated that. If you haven't seen a crash that I had, look at the V10 versus V10F race I did, where I raced against myself with the magic of videography. And I had an accident on the V10F. Just from riding too fast. And I was wearing full armour, and it really flipping hurt. and it was a big crash. But go and have a look. So right, let's go and answer some questions first before I go, because there's a lot of chat going on, and I'm going to scroll back up. I'm going to miss loads of your questions. Sorry about that. Any female riders on EUC? There are. In fact, I need to get in. Yeah, I could probably email a couple, but you literally there's like a handful that we know of. It will never be allowed to run on any wheel for 40, 50 kilometers an hour. Not in my country, at least. What's going on?
People don't like.
Pedal over switch protector, parking stand adapters also there. That's on the Thingiverse if you go and have a look at that. Let me scroll down. People talking to each other, which is good, connecting up, because as soon as you say you're in New Zealand or wherever, people are going, oh, I'm in New Zealand too, whereabouts are you? And you're having a little chat back and forth, so chat with people. If people want to join on this trip, you're welcome. Hey! If people want to join this trip, you're welcome, it says in the comments, so that's good. Yes, it's open, Belgian wheelers. Okay, cool. So get there. We have page and group. Cool. Get on that then, people. Go and have a look at it. Belgian wheelers. Get involved. Don't forget to get some videos in and then send them in to viewers' videos, and you could win £25 store credit or some other prize at that week. Ian, ever thought about bringing in some one-wheel XR or similar? Thinking of getting something like that. Looks almost as fun as EUCs. Yes, we have tried to contact them, and it's a negative multiple times. So they just don't want a deal. So we kind of left that one where it was really, and it's not going to be as fun as the electric unicycle, is it? It's not going to take you places where these can. So on that front, I'm like, yeah. Just have a look. Chur bro. I'm not even sure what chur bro means. I've been meaning to catch up with one of your rides out in Aria, but scheduling is never right. I'll ride there a lot. Cool, right, people chatting with each other. Sorry, I'm just trying to check all your questions. Tony Salisbury is on. Hello, on Facebook. Okay, cool. Right, well, so what we'll do now then is we'll play. So this is to try and get into our heads collectively as a community, not to travel out there flat out everywhere. And so we'll play this documentary. So I'm signing off now, but we'll be back next week. This documentary will play, not produced by us. We credit the people who did it on the actual video, overlaid over the whole video. You can go and check out their channel, go and give it a thumbs up or whatever, and you can go and share the original video that was uploaded. But I watched it, and yeah, really impacted me, and I watched it a couple of years ago. But it came out 2016. So here we are. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. And from me, it's goodbye. But now it is the documentary. So thank you very much, and don't forget to send in your viewers' videos. We only need 2 more to make the 10 to do the competition next week and vote on it. So thank you very much for all of you who have sent videos in. And here is the documentary. Enjoy it. It's a good one.
This thing is fast. Yeah, gotcha. Coming on your right. probably small. I've been skateboarding probably since I was about 5 or 6 years old, I would guess. The skateboarding scene around Michigan it's pretty good. There's a lot of really good guys around here. I got to meet a lot of them through my photography, posting up at the skate park and just shooting photos for them. E-boarding is really cool because there's a bunch of different aspects of it. You can get the long board, you can get a shorter board. You don't have to push, so you don't have to worry about that aspect if you're commuting for a long time. That's something that I wanted an e-board for, is getting around. Instead of having to bike places when it's too long to longboard or to skateboard, get to ride an e-board from point A to point B. Skate's a local group that was started here in Ann Arbor to get a lot of different people that ride these e-boards to be able to communicate with each other and talk about what their builds are, how they can improve their builds, safety features, and different things like that, just to get guys talking together instead of being the only one in your community.
We kind of started experimenting with riding the boards in parking lots and just trying to figure out what can we do with this. Is this fun? And it turns out it was really fun because we could just go to a parking lot, ride around, and get a really quick adrenaline rush. And it never felt like we were putting ourselves in danger, like bombing a hill, you know, or like riding in a bowl or something, you know, like it just felt like, wow, do this for a couple minutes and then we could be on our way.
It's going to be just your skateboard deck or longboard deck. You're going to have your trucks, so normal skateboard trucks, usually urethane wheels so we can actually attach a motor to it. And then we have our enclosure that has the battery in it. So the battery is going to power our motor, but we have to charge that, so we have a BMS, a battery management system, to actually do the charging and discharging. And then we control it through a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter and a receiver in the board. That moves on to our BESC, Better Electronic Speed Control. So a guy named Benjamin Vetter out of Sweden actually open sources that whole project, so there's an entire community behind it. It's awesome. It's yeah, the open source community is really what made us possible.
It was just really nice to see that more and more people in the community were starting to get together and wanted to ride with other people instead of just taking the board from point A to point B, but they love these things and they want to get out there and ride them, and they want to ride them and share that experience with other people.
Did a full shoot the first time I ever bought an SLR without realizing that, I don't remember what it was, but I got 0 pictures out of it.
So I was finishing up the day. Rick and I, we were talking about possibly hitting up this new place that had some kind of windy roads, but didn't have the time to make it out there because I was going to basketball a little bit later. So we just kind of figured, hey, let's go for a kind of leisurely ride and hit up the one of the local high schools and just check it out.
It was really, honestly, just to get some footage in the can. You know, it's like, oh, we haven't rode in a while. Let's just, I have some new camera gear. Let's just like mess with it and do like a quick ride.
I had to go let my dog out and go grab some stuff from home. Changed up what I was wearing, and then as I was walking out, figured I should probably grab my helmet. Looked around, didn't see it initially, didn't give myself enough time, and just kind of took off from there.
Normally when we organize a ride, we bring all the gear, we bring all the safety gear. I always bring some extra stuff. Yeah, this wasn't one of those days. It was right after work and all my gear was at home. I just had my helmet. I remember asking Robbie or mentioning something about bringing a helmet. And so when he didn't have one, I didn't really think anything of it because, again, it was not a serious ride.
We were just riding around the parking lot, kind of just really kind of cruising around, goofing off a little bit. A couple dudes were around there. They were kind of sitting there watching type of thing. It was a pretty rocky parking lot, not really the best ground to be riding on, like not something I'd want to skate on at all. Longboarding would be questionable at that time. So yeah, the ground was pretty crappy, just a small little lot. So we figured, hey, we can go check out the track and just kind of ride around that. It should be pretty smooth. It was open, so I figured, hey, why not? We got it. Didn't really think any more about it, didn't think about the material or anything like that.
It gave the illusion of you're riding on, you know, foam almost, like you're riding on something that's like a cushion. And so when I got on it, I got into my low stance and went around, but it felt very grippy to me. It felt like, okay, this that's kind of cool, you know, and I was really more thinking about what it would look like on the camera. Like, oh, we're, you know, I was trying to stay inside of like the lane of the track, you know, like that would be cool if I just stayed between the lines. So I was really just thinking about the composition. And the thing about why I like riding with Robbie is that he's not only a great rider, but he has a great eye for filming. He has really inventive ways of putting the camera in places that you'd never think of. And we started riding, and I think we paused, and I think I wanted Robbie to do a certain move. Like I was going to start at a low angle, and then he was going to kind of punch it.
1, 2, 3.
I immediately remembered him taking the corner too fast. He started wobbling.
Oh man, Robbie. Oh shit.
You know, whenever you see someone crash, it's not good. And you always want to think the best outcome. It's something that, oh man, that sucks, but we could laugh it off. So I thought this was going to be something that we were just going to laugh about. When he hit the ground, his face was basically on the surface of the track, and he didn't respond to me. And that was probably the scariest thing I've ever had to witness.
Robbie, stay still, stay still. Stay still. Stay still, Robbie. Robbie, stay still, man. Stay still, stay still.
My instincts were immediately to call 911. And as I was on the phone with 911, they were telling me to describe what's happening, and I was just like, it felt like, it was like, just come, you know what I mean? Stop talking to me, like, get here right now.
My buddy fell off a skateboard. He's in a seizure or something. I need someone. Okay. Robbie.
So Robbie started seizuring on the ground, and I remember yelling at him, or maybe not yelling, but really like trying to get through to him. Like, it's gonna be, we're gonna get through this together. Like, I'm here. Like, it's okay. I don't know why I thought I could will this injury out of him, but it was like, we can handle this. Like, we could solve this problem just like we can solve any other problem that we've run across. The location of the track is already kind of far away from like the actual campus of the school, and I realized we were out there. We were like alone, like I couldn't pick him up and move him. I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want to go run to find help. So 911 was really the only option.
And then, yeah, after that, I had woken up, actually, and I got up. The adrenaline must have been kicked in at that point, or the pain hadn't set in or something. I tried to kind of walk it off, and then Rick had laid me down and said, no, you should lay down.
He laid down. He couldn't really speak, but he was listening to me, and that was a good sign. I did some research later about seizures and having a traumatic brain injury, and the longer that you're out, that you're unconscious, the worse chances you have. The fact that he woke up in what I think was a pretty quick time was actually a really good thing.
My wife came out and said, we have to go to the emergency room. She was on the phone with somebody, and I thought it was my father, who has Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and we were frequent flyers at the ER near us, so I just assumed it was him. So when she got off the phone and I got done. She said, "No, it's Robbie." "What?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "He just had a bad accident. A friend has just called and we have to go to the emergency room now."
Some of the doctors kept coming in and they mentioned a subdural hematoma. I couldn't assess that. I couldn't process what that meant. I just kind of relayed it to his mom.
He didn't look like he was that hurt from the outside. And at first, he was talking. And it seemed like it was almost, you know, he was a little out of it, but still, you know, was talking. So he was coherent and he was talking to the doctors. But within a very short, really short period of time, all of a sudden, he just kind of lost it.
So I grabbed him and said, "Rob, this is me. Do you know who I am?" And he looked at me and he said, "I want to get out." He just kept babbling about wanting to get out of there. And there was a guy had to be about 6'7", 6'8", and he kept putting his finger on his chest and pushing him back into the emergency room chair and said, "You got to settle down." He just couldn't calm him down. And so, you know, we were looking at him just thinking, wow, you know, and it just kind of got worse from there, and he became uncontrollable. So they had to give him so much medication, they just knocked him out. And that's when they made us leave. And then we went in the waiting room, you know, where some people were, and boy, that was a hard day.
So when I saw him, he had so much medication in him that he was just out. And, you know, that's a very hard thing to just see your loved one, my brother, like laying there and just out and groggy. And granted, in a sense, I'd rather see him like that than the combative way that everybody else saw him.
Whether it's your friend or your kid, a relative, it doesn't matter. You know, you just see somebody suffering without knowing the end game, and that's the frightening part. So all you can do is wait. You just wait and pray and hope things come out okay.
My immediate feelings after the accident was that I did this to him. Something I made has seriously injured someone that I care about. I was really beating myself up about it. Missy and Richard just kept comforting me and telling me it's okay, and then Doug Song, the CEO of the company that me and Robbie work at, came by, and he's a skater too, and he was like, you know, don't beat yourself up about this. Accidents happen. It was just an accident.
He was a little bit conversant. We were able to communicate with him a little bit during the next day or two, and you know, when some of you guys came in and he was able to talk to some of his friends, you know, when he really concentrated, you could tell that, you know, his brain was working, and it wasn't going to be, hopefully, you know, a devastating accident, but you're still not sure. It still took, you know, a few days to really be sure that, because he was improving slowly. When he was conscious and talking, he was able to function, but there were times when he wasn't, you know, and he had a massive headache the whole time, and that was just, it was pretty excruciating just watching. I can't imagine what it felt like. So we tried to get him home, and he came home here for a while, but his headaches were so bad, he couldn't sit up, he couldn't lie down. The skull fracture at that point of fracture was really painful, and he had to wear a neck brace, which put pressure on the point that was fractured. In addition to inside of his head, he was having major concussion syndromes, which they warned us about. When somebody goes through that, there's really no right way of handling it. You kind of work your way through it. It was basically like he was, you know, a 3-year-old kid again that wasn't moving around too much because his head hurt so much. So, you know, we essentially fed him, we medicated him, we kept an eye on his vitals.
You know, he couldn't take the dog out. He couldn't make food. He couldn't go anywhere because he could barely walk. And so it was wonderful that we had the opportunity to take care of him and that he let us do it.
I was finally able to return to the office, and that was awesome. Through this whole thing, just the amount of support that I got from people at the office was so great. That helped me really want to get back to work, that just so much support from those people around me. You're not going to get that from another company, so that just kind of made me realize that I'm at such a great place, and that I just really wanted to get back to working and be able to see people again and communicate with people.
The adrenaline rush and the fun of trying new tricks and things like that has always been part of the skateboarding culture. E-skateboarding is different. I don't know how to do it, but it's fun. I wish they had that stuff when I was a kid. I would have done it.
Well, imagine commuting across town without driving or even pedaling. A Tampa entrepreneur is rolling out an electric-powered skateboard that you can control with your smartphone.
The caseboard easily folds into a briefcase.
Dozens of startup companies have slapped motors on just about anything that moves.
Just pull it up and turn it on.
Okay,
you're ready to go.
So that means you can go anywhere you want above any surface, but it has to be powered if you want to go above water.
That's called a hoverboard.
Stop! Look, I need to borrow your hoverboard.
A lot of people that are buying these type of products have never ridden a board before, and those are especially the people that need to be wearing helmets. Everyone should, even people like me. I should have been wearing a helmet, and I've been riding boards for a long time. If I were to see someone just stepping on a board for the first time with no helmet, and that's almost what some of this messaging is about, is you're fine, it's just a board, it's just this technology. What could go wrong? A lot of things. A lot of things can go wrong, and that's just something that should be more evident to people.
This is something that's critical because it's just different. You know, you've got motors taking you faster than your body would take you just with gravity.
What I wasn't on the day of the accident was an ambassador of this sport. If I'm not taking care of the people who are stepping on the board, I'm not doing enough.
I mean, these things go really, really quick, and we're pretty worried about safety. I mean, our buddy Robbie took a pretty bad spill, and that scared a lot of us.
After that, we were like, no more games. We need to go full out and provide the need for protection, so it's not forgotten.
Being able to inform everybody that, yes, these are still kind of dangerous. They're a lot of fun, but you got to respect it for what it is. But mainly, like, the safety aspect behind it pushes what we're going to do in the future, I think.
You know, one thing Robbie kept saying over and over and over again, I went home to get my helmet. I went home, I just couldn't find it, you know, and so it shows that it was that one time, and that's all it takes. And you just can't take the chance.
Anyone releasing a commercial board needs to show their riders with helmets. It's so simple. It's such a new technology. No one is used to seeing someone on an e-board. A car is not used to seeing someone on an e-board going as fast as them on the streets.
Skateboarders always have a tendency to pull for each other and support each other and care about each other. So when they're skateboarding and e-boarding and doing new things, I hope that they encourage each other to do it safely. I know it may not be, you know, the macho thing to do, or kids want to always be a little bit rugged, you know, and kind of tough about it, but it's so foolish. I mean, if they want to truly enjoy it and not have to go through what Robbie went through or what I see other people go through. There's so many helmets now and safety. If it becomes part of the culture, I think that would be the best thing that could happen to it.